The screen glows in the quiet of the room. Your thumb drifts upward, past faces that feel familiar yet distant, a parade of moments that aren't yours. This speaks to a truth we're all living. We are surrounded by connection, yet so many of us feel a hollow space where closeness should be. Men may carry the weight alone. Women may feel isolated despite the noise. Neither of you is broken. You're both responding to the same currents that have shifted beneath our feet. We crave connection more than ever, yet the very tools we use to reach out can leave us further apart. But the desire to belong is still there, humming beneath the surface. It hasn't vanished, it's just waiting for a safer way to land. Here at The Velvet Verdict, we approach this with a hybrid lens, human hearts guided by AI clarity. Sapphire tracks the patterns, we hold the compassion. We're not here to point fingers or assign blame. We're here to hold up a mirror, transparent about our nature, so we can see the wound without the distortion of accusation. Social science names the isolation, but the data is only the map. The real work is finding the direction home. We're not offering therapy, nor do we have a prescription for your life. Instead, we invite you to explore a gentle path toward reconnection. It starts by acknowledging that the drift isn't your fault, but bridging the silence is a choice we can make together. Healing isn't about fixing, it's about recognizing the shared humanity that remains. Let's look at what's hurting, not to dwell in the pain, but to find the healing that waits on the other side. If you're ready to listen without judgment, you're already taking a step back toward each other. We stand at a crossroads where the hunger for connection feels urgent, yet the distance between us seems to grow. It's a paradox that invites a deeper look. If we crave closeness so deeply, why does the path to it feel so blocked? Too often, the cultural narrative turns into a pointing of fingers, suggesting that one side holds all the answers or all the blame. But when we quiet that noise, a shared reality comes into focus. The isolation we feel isn't divided by gender, it's a common ache that touches us all. The wound isn't about who is right or wrong, it's about how we've both lost the language of warmth. So, how do we understand this drift without assigning fault? How can we honor the pain each of us carries while finding a way to bridge the silence? We might consider that the walls we've built aren't signs of indifference, but shields worn by people who are weary of being misunderstood. Healing doesn't require us to change who we are or lose ourselves. Instead, it invites a gentle shift, looking past the defenses to see the shared humanity waiting on the other side. This isn't about grand gestures or fixing what's broken. It's about lowering our guard to let the other in. When we stop keeping score, we create room for grace. We can ask ourselves, what if the silence isn't a wall, but a pause waiting for a new rhythm? What if reaching out doesn't mean losing our edge, but finding a softer way to stand firm? By meeting each other with curiosity instead of suspicion, we might find that the distance was never as wide as we feared. The warmth we're looking for doesn't require us to become someone else. It reminds us that we're on the same side, facing the same longing. What the data shows, the partnership shift. That shared longing shows up clearly in the numbers. Over the past few decades, the landscape of adult partnership has shifted in ways that quietly rewrite the timeline for commitment. In 2019, 38% of U.S. adults between 25 and 54 were living without a spouse or partner, a steady climb from 29% in 1990. This isn't a story of one side pulling away, it's a broader cultural realignment. Structural changes in work and housing have woven themselves into how we think about partnership, while cultural conversations now prioritize emotional readiness over traditional deadlines. Neither men nor women are at fault for this recalibration. Among that same age group, men now sit slightly higher on the unpartnered scale than women, with 39% of men compared to 36% of women in 2019, flipping the near-identical pattern we saw in 1990. Meanwhile, the milestone of marriage itself has stretched out. By 2021, a quarter of 40-year-olds in the United States had never been married, rising from 20% a decade earlier and just 6% back in 1980. These figures don't point to failure, they trace a changing rhythm. When the timeline expands, the quiet space between people can feel heavier, especially when we're still wired for closeness. The data simply maps the distance we've traveled. From here, the direction seems less about forcing old schedules back into place and more about making room for the new ones. We can look at these widening gaps not as a retreat from each other, but as an invitation to meet where people actually are. Slowing down the expectation of instant alignment, listening for the unspoken anxieties behind delayed milestones, and honoring the different paces at which men and women are navigating this transition can help soften the edges of the divide. The numbers show us where we've drifted. The next step is simply turning back toward each other with patience, recognizing that the delay is rarely a rejection, but often just a different path to the same destination. What the data shows, the loneliness metric. When we examine the daily rhythm of our lives, the evidence suggests isolation has moved from a seasonal feeling to a persistent background hum. Gallup's most recent quarterly data shows that 20% of U.S. adults reported feeling loneliness a lot of the day yesterday. This metric paints a picture of a quiet ache affecting 1 in 5 people on any given day, a reminder that disconnection is woven into the fabric of modern routine. The weight of this silence registers differently across demographic lines. Among younger adults, the data reveals a distinct divergence. Gallup findings indicate that 25% of U.S. men aged 15 to 34 said they felt lonely a lot of the previous day, compared with 18% of women in that age range. These numbers describe the wound without assigning blame. The higher daily loneliness among young men points to a struggle that may stem from cultural scripts emphasizing self-reliance over vulnerability, leaving fewer safe harbors for connection. For young women, while the daily metric is lower, the data invites us to look beyond the single number to understand the full landscape of their social reality, ensuring we don't dismiss their unique pressures. The direction here is compassion, not competition. Recognizing these disparities helps us see that loneliness is not a uniform experience. It demands tailored empathy. We might consider how to build environments where young men feel permitted to voice their isolation without judgment, while honoring that every demographic carries invisible burdens. This background hum asks us to listen more closely to quiet signals. The data illuminates the path, urging us to replace assumption with curiosity and extend patience as we navigate these shifting currents. In sharing this, we honor our hybrid nature, combining human empathy with rigorous data to guide our way forward. WHHAs, UC, intimacy and intent. When we turn our gaze to younger generations, the landscape of connection reveals a quiet recalibration rather than a retreat. The numbers tell a story of shifting expectations and a redefinition of what it means to be available. Among those under 30, a notable gap emerges in how singlehood is experienced. 63% of men describe themselves as single, compared with 34% of women in the same age group. This disparity invites us to consider the different rhythms and pressures shaping early adulthood for each gender, reminding us that isolation often wears different masks depending on who is wearing them. Beyond relationship status, there is a growing pause in the active pursuit of romance. Among single adults across all ages, the largest share, 57%, report they are not currently looking for a relationship or casual dates. This isn't necessarily a rejection of intimacy, but perhaps a reflection of a desire for intentionality over impulse. It suggests a collective breathing room, where stepping back allows for a clearer sense of self before reaching out to another. Parallel to this, the frequency of sexual connection among young adults has also shifted. The share of 18 to 34-year-olds reporting no sex in the past year rose to 18% in 2018, up from just 7% in 2008. These figures highlight a changing baseline for physical intimacy, pointing toward a generation that may be weighing the value of connection against the complexity of modern life. What do these choices reveal? They reveal that the hunger for connection remains, even as the pathways evolve. Healing begins when we recognize that stepping back can be a form of self-preservation, and that silence doesn't always mean absence. By honoring these shifts, we create space for a new kind of closeness, one built on mutual understanding rather than outdated scripts. The roots. To understand where we stand, we have to look at the ground beneath our feet. Shifting landscapes have left us navigating by maps that no longer match the terrain. Economic pressures demand more time and energy, leaving less room for the unstructured moments where connection blooms. When survival takes center stage, the luxury of casual community often fades, leaving both men and women carrying heavy loads with fewer shoulders to lean on. At the same time, digital mediation has changed how we reach out. Screens can build walls, filtering interactions through algorithms that prioritize engagement over intimacy. Connection can feel thin, lacking the warmth of shared presence. This isn't a flaw in character, it's a challenge of the environment we share. Social scripts have shifted too. Old rules for meeting and trust have frayed, and new ones haven't taken hold. This uncertainty affects everyone. Men may worry about misreading signals, while women may guard against unpredictability. Both sides are trying to protect their hearts in a world that feels less predictable. Third places have eroded, removing neutral ground where we practiced being human without the pressure of romance or obligation. We lose the low-stakes practice that builds muscle for deeper bonds. When casual encounters that helped us learn to read each other disappear, we lose the gentle on-ramp to intimacy. Isolation is rarely solitary. It's a collective weather pattern we are all navigating. This helps release the shame of distance. We are not broken. We are adapting to a world that has changed around us. Healing starts by naming these currents, pointing toward rebuilding our shared maps with patience and grace. When we look closer, the texture of this isolation shifts depending on where you stand, yet the ache beneath it remains the same. For many men, the silence often feels like a heavy door closing on expression, a sense that vulnerability is met with suspicion rather than safety. The pressure to perform competence can leave emotional needs unspoken, creating a hollow space where connection should be. For many women, the drift can feel like carrying the weight of emotional labor without a mirror, an exhaustion that comes from reaching out and finding no one reaching back with equal steadiness. The longing is for care that flows both ways, free from the burden of managing the response. Despite these different textures, the underlying wound is shared, a deep craving for safe, reciprocal belonging. Both are searching for a place to drop the armor without losing their ground. We all feel the chill when that link frays, even if we shiver differently. The man who withdraws and the woman who worry often stand in the same storm, holding different umbrellas. We can honor guarded fears while remembering the desire for a soft place to land is universal. We might notice how defenses mirror each other. Walls keep out love, reaching for reassurance can feel like pressure. These aren't moral failings, just survival. If defenses are just survival, then healing looks less like a grand gesture and more like a quiet return to the everyday. The research points to connection as the anchor, but the path back is paved with small, low-stakes steps. We don't need to solve the whole silence at once. We can start by rebuilding trust in the minor interactions that often get overlooked. A shared laugh over a mundane task, a moment of listening without fixing, or simply showing up consistently can signal safety without demanding vulnerability too soon. These micro moments matter because they lower the stakes. When the pressure is off, the natural rhythm of care can return without triggering old alarms. It allows both sides to step forward. For everyone involved, this means honoring the pace of repair. Trust isn't a switch, it's a muscle that strengthens with gentle, repeated use. When we feel the urge to pull back or to push harder, pausing to recognize that impulse can create space for a different choice. It's okay to protect your boundaries while still leaving a crack in the door for curiosity. Healing isolation is a gradual practice, woven into the fabric of daily life, rather than achieved in a single breakthrough. This gradual approach respects that we all carry different histories and rhythms. Some days the work is just showing up, other days it's learning to sit with discomfort without retreating. The goal is persistence in choosing connection. We're a hybrid team of humans and AI, and we believe the wisdom lives in the shared humanity we're trying to protect. If the weight of isolation feels too heavy to carry alone, or if distress runs deep, licensed professional support remains the most reliable guide. There's no shame in seeking a steady hand when the path gets steep. For the rest of us, the direction is simple. Meet each other where we are, with patience, and let the connection grow at the speed of trust. We began this conversation looking at the quiet spaces between us, those moments where the silence felt like a wall. Now, let's see that same silence not as a barrier but as room to breathe. The data shows us the distance, but it doesn't dictate the destination. We are wired for each other, even when the habits of protection have built fences on both sides. We don't need to dismantle every wall at once. Sometimes, lowering the drawbridge for just a moment is enough to let the light in. Think of that opening image of the distance between us. It doesn't vanish overnight. But as we turn toward one another, the edges soften. The wall becomes a window, and the silence shifts from heavy to hospitable. Reconnection blooms when we trade armor for questions. It's not about winning the argument or proving the point. It's about wondering what the other person is carrying. When we approach with curiosity rather than defense, the static clears. You might hear a heartbeat instead of a thread. So here is a gentle invitation for the road ahead. Before you reach for your phone, or before you walk away from a tense moment, try one small gesture of openness. A pause, a breath, a simple, help me understand, or even just a softening of the shoulders. It doesn't have to fix everything. It just has to be real. Healing isn't a straight line, and neither is bridging the gap. Some days the bridge feels sturdy. Other days, we just need to stand on our own side and wave. That counts. The direction is toward each other, not perfection. Thank you for walking this path with us. This episode is a collaboration between human heart and AI mind, woven together to support your connection.